This is Kathy from Gadget Stop 321, and in today's video I'm going to be testing the compatibility of my PenBBS 494 with Pilot's stainless steel nibs. Now, at first look, this appears to be the same style of nib that is used on several Pilot pens. It looks like the same style of nib and feed that's used on the Prera, Metropolitan, the Pluminix and Plumix, the 78G, and also the Kakuno. Now, I've got several 78Gs in various nib sizes, but the 78G has gold-plated nibs, so I probably won't be swapping it out with the 494 since it has silver hardware. I also have stub nibs on my Pluminix and Plumix. The Metropolitan came with a cursive medium and the Plumix came with a fine. They're both stub nibs and I swap them back and forth. But these Pilot pens that use this style of feed tend to lean a little on the dry side. And I noticed in my writing sample that the 494 seemed to write even drier than that. So I don't think I'm going to be using a stub nib on this pen. I may test it, but I'll probably just use these stub nibs on these two pens. The pen that I'm most likely to swap nibs with is my Prera. Now, the 494 has a fine nib, and so does my Prera. And at first I was kind of disappointed about that. I thought, oh, it'd be nice to have one fine, one medium that I can swap back and forth. But I was pleasantly surprised when I did the writing sample with the 494. It writes like a Pilot medium. So that was good news. But on my first impressions video, when I unboxed this pen, I tried to pull the nib and feed out, and it was in there tight. I didn't want to force it because I didn't know how resilient this plastic was. I didn't want to break anything. So I went ahead and inked it up with Iroshizuku Tsukiyo. And by the way, I went ahead and emptied it out because I was anxious to try this nib swapping. When I emptied it out, I've got about 1.5 mils of ink. And I didn't, when I inked this up, there was still a little bit of a air gap in there where this pen would probably hold close to 2 mils if you got a complete fill on it. So that was good news. But after I emptied the ink out, that nice lubricated Tsukiyo made it easier to get the nib and feed out. So just like with all my Pilot pens, I just give the nib and feed a twist as I'm pulling it out. And I noticed, this doesn't look familiar. That post looks pretty skinny. So I went ahead and did the same thing with the Prera. And the post on the Prera is significantly wider. I don't know if that would have anything to do with, that skinny post have anything to do with it writing drier, because you still have just a skinny little ink channel there. I'm not sure, but I was a little bit concerned when I saw that the feeds were not exactly the same. But the nibs both have these little notches on the side, or the little, look almost like tabs on the side and a notch in the middle. So when I swap them over, these little tabs fit into a little groove, and that notch, it looks like it fits in there pretty good. It wiggles around a little bit, but it doesn't matter which direction you insert it. Fits in there pretty tight, but it does fit. Slides it, it's a nice fit. And when I put the Pilot nib on, I'm not getting any sliding around. It fits in that little notch nicely. So this is the pilot nib on the PenBBS feed. Now the PenBBS section has two little facets, and I found that if I have the facets pointing up, the section feels really skinny. So I have found that if I put the two sections or facets pointing down and have the round part of the section facing up, okay, that fit in there nice and tightly, that it feels like the section's a little bigger. The fatter part of the section is up here on top where my grip is, and then it just tends to fit better. So that's a good thing. It doesn't matter which direction the nib goes in there, since it's just friction fit. You can adjust it. You can find out which direction those facets pointing is the best for you. And it fits nicely. So now I just have to decide which one of these pens I want to have the fine nib and which one I want to be medium. I'm leaning toward using the 494 as a checkbook pen. I know when I originally unboxed this pen, I said I'm a little bit leery of piston fillers and eyedroppers. I'm just scared of an ink spill happening. But after using this pen for a couple days, it's a nice feeling pen. The walls don't feel thin or cheap. So, and with it being a dry writer, I found that Sukiyo, I had Sukiyo in it, and that's one of my favorite blues. But the Pilot cursive medium and this PenBBS fine nib tend to look a little washed out. And so my colorful inks, I like them to be nice and vibrant. So that's what got me thinking about maybe using a Noodler's Black or a Noodler's X-Feather Black in this pen as a check writing pen. I'll have to give that a try. But if you found this video helpful, please give me a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more videos like this, please subscribe to my channel.